send a link so I can share.
I got you, my brother. Oh, wait, hold Fred's here. Fred's here.
Nice.
Good brother Fred.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, my
Of
brother.
course, brother, we can hear you. Oh, you in the
Fred's here.
wilderness. I
Fred's
like
here.
it.
Yeah, man. I gotta show y'all this, man. It's like a
Good
lake
brother
and
Fred.
stuff, bro.
Whoa.
It was
My
mad
man.
affordable. Shit was mad affordable. We got to pull up honestly at some point. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
I'm with it, man. I'm totally with it.
That shit.
We're
Angela,
here.
this is Fred. Fred.
Angela. This is Fred.
Angela.
Fred, Angela.
Hi, Angela. How are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a pleasure.
Good to meet you.
Same.
All right, I'm sending y'all the YouTube link in the chat right now.
I have it already.
You got it?
Yeah, but send it in the chat.
What happened?
Palm.
Palm is insane.
He's insane. Something wrong with him. Party time. It's party time. Oh yeah, I gotta tweet it for him.
Man, I might change my camera.
Right. Let me see.
All right, cool. The links are sent out on all the social medias. My man Jay Lenz, what's up, my brother? All right. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure Palm is in here. Not yet. Anyways, Fred, how was your week, man? What you been doing?
Honestly, it's been trash. I left the city to come up here for a second because I got work to do and I can't work out of this. It's I've been there for 4 months now. So, What about y'all?
Oh man, busy but cool. You know what I mean? I had to get a whole bunch of work done. I crammed so I could have the day off tomorrow. It's birthday time.
Yeah, his birthday's tomorrow. But Happy early. No, Trey. It's Trey's birthday tomorrow.
Oh.
Happy early
Oh.
birthday.
Happy early birthday, bro.
Appreciate.
But
That's wild.
yeah, with me, I've just been trying to find like solace in like random things. So I've just been getting like a record collection. And today I got To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar.
Nice.
And I like we've just been bumping that and Ready to Die by Biggie. And yeah, that's just been great. I've just been listening to music all day. And it's just
What
been
about
helping.
Ready to Die? Like it's been in your spirit. Like what about it?
You know, we're all alive at some point, and then like we all know that we're gonna be gone at some point, and like your art can live forever. And that's like one of the things I've been like really thinking about. Your art, your words, who you are, like all those things like live forever. That's what a legend is. Like that's what history is. You get what I'm saying? So you just always have to think like when it comes to purpose, you have to always think like if I was to go, God forbid, like this moment, what am I leaving in this world? Like, am I leaving a good message? Am I leaving a bad message? And then, you know, morality comes down to the person, but you realize that like from even things that people think is negative, you can get good out of it. Like a lot of people can learn from those lessons and become better people.
Oh yeah.
So like I've been listening to Ready to Die a lot, and like Everyday Struggles is my favorite song of all time. And I listened to that song, and like even as like a person that probably I wasn't in the streets like how Biggie was in the streets, but like to wake up and be like I'm hungry and you can't get food, like that's a thing that like I went through growing up in Bed-Stuy as a rapper from Bed-Stuy go through the same thing, was just like we gotta fix this. So like you get inspiration from a lot of different things, and like just like Ready to Die and like To Pimp a Butterfly was just like I feel like are two albums that like just really talk about the struggles of Black people, even though from two different coasts you can hear how it's the same thing.
Yeah.
We're different people, but it's the same exact struggle
You know
that we're
what's
going
crazy too? Like to add on to your point, when you listen to, I went to South Africa, Cape Town, a few years ago, and if you listen to the hip hop, they saying the same things we saying too.
It's the
You know what I mean?
same
So it's the
thing,
same
bro.
thing globally, and we all rapping and using our voices to rap about the same exact struggles. I think, you know what I mean. It's a lesson in that.
That's real talk.
It's a lesson in that. So let's get it started. Palmer, join up whenever you join up. Hey champ.
Let's do it.
Pow! Hey champ.
Hey,
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 hey, hey,
hey,
hey,
hey,
hey, hey.
hey.
Hear ye, haters now in session, and you are now rocking with the finest, the most luxurious, the most notorious, the most scrumptious haters you ever seen in your big life. Bow! And we are still in our individual haters. Then I know we in new phases, but we still quarantining because you know we gotta wait for the first batch of air to hit everybody else first. You know what I'm saying? Then we'll see, you know, what's going on with what's going on.
Yeah.
So shout out to Find Love Soon. Those my guys. Shout out to the Motivated Brain. Those my guys.
Shout out Potluck Crew. Shout out Hustle with a Goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Let's get into these hated names. Fred, talk about it.
Well, first of all, am I breaking up? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can.
No, we can hear you.
All right, bet. So this week I'm gonna be you know what? I'm gonna be Wakanda Forever Nancy Pelosi this week.
Oh man.
I like it. I like it.
I like it too. I think I'm gonna be who am I gonna be this week? I think I'm gonna be a wedding at the protest.
I like it. I like it. Today I'm gonna be banning chocos after chocos was already banned. Boom.
Yeah, boom.
That's my
boom roasted.
Boom roasted. So we got a lovely, lovely guest with us this week.
Amazing.
We only got to speak for like a short couple minutes, but I just love her energy and love who she is and love what she's had to say so far. So I think it's important that we uplift her voice and make sure her platform is heard and understood. So we're gonna let her do her introductions, and you know you can give us a hater name if you got one, or whatever, but you know you can introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Angela Walker. I am the vice presidential candidate for the Green Party of the United States. I am also the vice presidential nominee for the Socialist Party of the United States. So thank y'all for having me.
Hey, check you out. check you out. Where are you from?
Originally Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows up every time I say Wisconsin. But yeah.
That's our Wisconsin.
So before y'all like tag me on that, I'm aware of it. And I currently live in Florence, South Carolina.
Gotcha.
Okay, so a quick question for the people and for myself, honestly. What is the Green Party? Explain the Green Party in a way that people can understand. Like myself, that doesn't understand necessarily what the Green Party was.
A lot of people go when you say Green Party, and then you say Jill Stein in 2016. I go, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what the Green Party is they're dedicated to justice for the earth, but also bringing justice for human rights and making the linkage between, healing the ills that capitalism has wreaked on this planet and also upholding human rights in that same way. Because at least for me, it's a natural progression. If you care about people and you want justice for people, then you're going to want justice for the planet that we all share.
You're absolutely correct.
That's absolutely correct.
So I want to know like just a little bit more about your background. So being in Milwaukee, what was your journey into politics?
My family, I always say, is like my family was socialist without calling it socialism. I mean, I learned from a very young age that you don't put money or things over human life. Like, yeah, money has its place. We need that. But at the end of the day, you don't, human life is worth more than that. Right. And our lives are not, the worth of our lives, particularly as Black people, are not predicated on what we can produce. And also, learning my lineage and uplifting the fact that, loving Black people doesn't mean negating other people. But, with us, my granddaddy's message was always, you hold your head up.
Right.
And proud of who you are, be proud of where you come from. And so, yeah, I mean, I came from a very, working class Black family.
Gotcha. Dope. So outside of politics, what are you into?
I have no life. Hey, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I work. I'm a dump truck driver, and I say that, and people look at me like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I drive a vehicle that when she's empty is 27,000 pounds. So I have the big girl truck, but and I'm a grandmother. I have 5 grandkids.
What?
Wait.
Hold up. Go back.
Hold on, wait.
Amazing.
You can't just drop that bomb on us like that.
You look younger than all of us right now.
Right.
Now my daughter's like a total earth mother. My kid just turned 27 in May. Yeah, I've got, she's got 4 that she had, and then her fiance has a little girl, so they got 5.
Wow.
I got 5 grandbabies.
Amazing. A blessing.
You know how it is with us. Y'all already know. You know how we do.
I know.
Yeah,
Black don't crack. Black don't crack.
How we do.
You know it.
So do you I have a
go.
question. A real like kind of metaphorical kind of thing. Do you think that like driving a dump truck taught you how to maneuver in this political world, like just to barrel through like everything that's happening right now?
I see what you did there.
Oh, hey, feel me?
Well, and like thinking of what you're saying, like as big and as ungainly as dump trucks look, they require a lot of precision to manage, especially and I think that actually really is a good metaphor, because I mean, thinking of like places that I have to back up, and there's like a deep deep ditch on one side, and then fresh asphalt that you can't touch, and you got that much room to maneuver on, and your truck is that wide. And so it's just like there's a lot of deftness that's required, and a lot of delicacy, and a lot of patience. So I think that actually really is a perfect metaphor for this.
So I have a question. I have a question for you. So a lot of people would see I guess there's now this new radical left, as some like to put it, like the far left. So in a world that, obviously you've chosen the third party, but if you had to choose, like, ultimately, would you choose either person who's running now? And if so, why?
No,
Okay.
for the simple fact that at some point, especially as a Black woman, and I was just talking to my daughter about this today, thinking about the front runner on one side, the fact that it was expressed to him by primarily Black women, the people who elected him. We need you to have a Black running mate. They had one that they favored. This individual brought that favorite on national TV and humiliated her.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that I couldn't even watch the whole clip because it hurt my feelings.
When was
And
this?
just thinking about a month ago, around the same time he made that statement on The Breakfast Club, matter of fact.
Was the Stacey Abrams clip?
Yes.
I know
That's exactly what it was.
Yep.
And she was, he had to know, she was someone who was favored to be his running mate.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought her on national television to be awful to her.
Right.
Which I took as him basically saying, I can handle Black women any way that I want to because y'all gonna show up for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And even if there were no third party options, I would just stay home. Because you're not going to wipe your feet on us and think that it's okay, and then we're going to hold our nose and give you what you want. What do we look like?
That's a fact.
It's insulting.
That's a fact. I love it.
That's strong. Palm is in the building. That's Palm, Angela. When his audio connect here.
Hey guys.
Hey.
We all here now. The whole gang is here. The whole gang is
Yeah.
here. So just speaking on that, and these two candidates and things of that nature, what are some of your platforms that you stand on? And that, well, let's not even say what are some of your platforms. What is your platform that's closest to your heart? You know what I mean? That you stand on and you really, really want people.
Really
people to
dope
understand.
question. I would have to say the part of like the basically a huge part, like the heart of our platform, is the eco-socialist Green New Deal. And when you hear Green New Deal, people automatically think of the Democrats, and it's like, no, baby, that's ours. They took it, they pulled out like all of the really potent things about it, one of which is public ownership of things that are currently private, and taking corporations completely out of the picture. They did not remove that part. And also their idea of Medicare for all is having a publicly administered but privately funded. You're still dealing with big insurance forms. That's not us. When we talk about Medicare for all, this is a community controlled, publicly owned, publicly run, publicly accountable national health service, completely funded by the state, as it should be. And so I think that all of the things that come, with the eco-socialist Green New Deal, and talking about, because I was a transit driver. I've been a CDL driver for almost 40, Lord Jesus. I don't know where that came from. Almost 20 years. And so I was a Greyhound driver for 2 years. I was a Milwaukee County Transit driver for 4 years. I served as the legislative director for the transit union local in my city for 2.5 of those years. I always say either 2 or 3. I would say 2.5. And transit is one of those things that's very close to my heart. Transportation infrastructure. I get really excited about the idea of clean mass transit, easily accessible, multimodal, and free. And also producing green jobs for people to maintain, to run, to help, build the infrastructure. All of those things make me really excited. So, those are things that are very, very close to my heart.
That's strong. That's strong. I was just checking out, your flyer and things you had on it. One that's close to my heart is ending mass incarceration. I have a brother that's locked up right now. He did 2 bids actually. So of course we lose a lot of friends and brothers to the system. So that's something that we all know. We all gotta free somebody right now. You know what I mean? So
Facts.
Yes.
what when the Green Party comes into the picture, what are some of your ideas on tackling that issue?
First off, we are absolutely against for-profit prisons.
Mm,
Our feeling is like you cannot work with these. You need to abolish them
mm,
because when you have
Hmm.
a profit motive involved in incarceration, you have incentive to keep. Jails don't make money if they're not full.
right.
And so one of the things, and it makes me think of one of the things that we were able to push back. I was a member of Occupy and Occupy the Hood in Milwaukee,
Oh wow.
and yeah, it was cool. And being that I had a platform, with my union,
Hmm.
I was able to like bring, activists and organizers into our spaces and
Right.
also have our union help, push things. And one of the things that we did was there was a bill in Wisconsin that was introduced, SB 207, that would have very quietly under the radar turn things that are currently misdemeanors into felonies.
Mm,
And so we know how
Mm,
that works.
hmm.
yeah.
Label folks felons, keep them barred from employment, barred from the things that they need to be able to do, barred from housing. Now all of a sudden you got a revolving door between them and prison. You keep in the prison,
Yeah.
you're feeding the cogs.
Hmm.
And so they wouldn't give us a public hearing. We had one at my union hall and called it the people's hearing, and our folks went to Madison and defeated the bill. And so,
Amazing.
these are things that happen with, mass incarceration,
Hmm.
and you're literally feeding people into this system.
Yes.
And part of it works because people don't know that this thing exists.
Exactly.
It's
Hmm.
easy for us to look at it and say, oh, well,
Mm,
we should have done this. We should have done that. I think our folks have to get real adept at separating the personal from the systemic,
yes.
Yeah.
and calling the system on how its tentacles reach into our lives. And so community control of police is one of our pieces of our platform.
Yes.
And um, also disbanding ICE
Mm,
and immediate reunification for people who are held in those camps with their families when
hmm.
possible. Opening borders, the way that the European Union, as long as you're not, they check your documents. If you're not wanted with anything, move freely.
Right.
That's our intention with this as well.
Right.
And
I was looking at something that was going on in Atlanta with the voting booths, and they weren't working, and they had people out there for hours, and a lot of people were saying that was voter suppression. Now, I don't know too much about voter suppression in that area, and I see that was one of your key points that you had. Can you break that down, like it's specifically for me too, because that's something I don't understand.
That's
Can
a
you talk
fact.
about
Me
ways
too.
that exist? And
there's a lot of different ways to suppress the vote. I don't know if y'all were paying attention to what happened in, of course, Milwaukee, of course,
mhm,
about,
Oh yeah, I seen
Wisconsin.
that.
At the
Oh,
height of a pandemic, you're going to force primarily, you know, vulnerable, because a lot of those poll workers are elders,
mhm,
vulnerable people, and knowing that COVID affects Black and Brown people in a much more deadly way than it does the rest of the population, Black, Brown, and Indigenous people.
mhm,
Um, you're going to force people to have to physically come to the polls to vote. And then there's only some of them that are open,
mhm,
and you can't guarantee the equipment is working the way that it needs to. Poll workers are unable to do their job. And then they found barrels and barrels and barrels of uncounted votes in
mhm.
somebody's work.
Wow.
So it's just like voter suppression takes a lot of different forms. It's not just any one thing.
Mhm,
Voter suppression is also you being a first time voter. You're coming into the polling place with your documents,
mhm,
and there's some person that you've never seen before frowning at you and basically trying to see what you have in your hand,
mhm.
which is voter intimidation. And if there are poll watchers, you know, there are limits to how close people can get to voters.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen them do it. I worked as a poll observer.
Wow.
And had somebody kicked out for encroaching. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways. A lot of people are very concerned with, is there going to be a bunch of mess if we have the mail-in ballots? Are y'all going to do right with them?
Yeah.
Are you going to count our votes? And those are very, very real concerns.
That's
and
a fact.
so, I mean, go ahead,
That's
honey.
really true because I was just having a conversation about like the Civil Rights Voting Act and people saying like, oh, the peaceful marches in the civil rights era didn't work, or we only got the right to vote. And it was like, well, when you think about it, we got the right to vote, but in a sense there were things put in place to prevent that. And just hearing what you're saying now, voter suppression is largely part of that. And I think that's a big piece that a lot of black people don't have the nuance to. So that's really important information.
I think we know a lot about it too, because think of people again who are labeled felons
Mm-hmm.
who don't have their right
The
to
right to
vote
vote.
reinstated,
Yeah.
or people who are aware, people who don't know that if you are off paper, like you're not on not on supervision or probation, you off paper, you can vote. How
Mm-hmm.
many people don't know that?
A
Yeah.
lot of people don't,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of felons and they dead.
Exactly.
I'd be like, nah, you ain't on papers. You could go register to vote, my guy.
Yes.
And it's kind of,
I didn't know
I
that.
think,
Nah, I
and
knew
it's
that.
kind of, ridiculous that like when you think about like things like that, like just people that are felons that aren't allowed to vote. You get what I'm saying? It's just like,
That would be like
who's in
constitutionally wrong.
jail? Who's really in jail? Like when you really look at the
Yeah.
numbers of who's really in jail,
That's
like
the whole point.
Wouldn't that be like constitutionally wrong if those people weren't allowed to vote?
Technically it is, or it should be, but there's loopholes. I mean, one of the things that, I would like to see change or removed is that clause in the 13th Amendment. And I know y'all seen Ava DuVernay's absolutely amazing documentary, 13.
yeah,
And if anybody's listening to this and y'all haven't seen it, I hope that you watch it. But there is a clause in that it nominally says that it abolishes slavery in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But the loophole in that is unless you are incarcerated.
yeah,
And that is something that has been exploited since it was drafted.
Yeah.
And so like I know Florida just had a victory with people who have felonies having their right to vote reinstated.
Wow.
Like people, like you don't have to be off paper. I have to look that up a little closer, but
That,
So,
it was a major victory. Mm-hmm.
question.
Wait, let's go Fred, then Palm. Fred, then Palm.
So I was just gonna ask. We mentioned Stacey Abrams earlier. So obviously you're well versed in this topic. What do you think of her work with Fair Fight? As someone who's done voter reg and things like that, I worked on campaigns myself. I've seen today there's a lot of criticism, especially from Kamala supporters of Stacey and her work with Fair Fight. So I don't know if you want to go into any of that, and then also the criticism from the Kamala supporters.
And see, I don't know enough about Ms. Abrams' work with that. I know that she ran for governor of Georgia. I know that as a Black woman, I was rooting for her.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Senator Harris, yeah. If I were a Democrat, I couldn't. I couldn't. But I'm not knocking people. I say
feel
vote
like
your vote your conscience, but I find her stance on certain things problematic.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to an interview with her at some point, and the issue of reparations came up, the issue of mass incarceration came up, and it was just like she danced around it. And I'm like, this what you're doing? So yeah.
what you
But
doing?
I don't know enough about Stacey Abrams and her work with Fair Fight to comment on that. But I mean, consider the source, I guess. I mean, folks
I love
You
it.
was about to say
Say what
something.
they say.
Palm, you was about to say something?
Oh, I was asking, is that amendment is that the reason why prisoners, people incarcerated could get paid like slave wages to do actual real labor?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay, technically, they don't have to pay them at all under that amendment. I mean, you can
Yeah.
literally be used for slave labor, and that's what it's been used for. You think of like the history of the chain gangs, the history of convict leasing, you know, you want and bring it to now. It's the same stuff. You have, certain really big companies making artisan cheeses, but what they don't want to tell you is that it is, it's the labor of incarcerated people that they're using to do this.
Yeah.
And that's unacceptable.
It's crazy because even about the 13th, right? I watched that documentary, and then I watched like another thing on HBO where they were talking about San Quentin, right? So San Quentin went from a level 4 to a level 2. And that's like the jail that they parade as like, look, like this is a good look. They painting in here, they doing this in here, like they have a newspaper system, like they're really good. But like the guys in there are like telling people straight up, like, yeah, like I'm grateful to be in here. But like the thing about it is they say that this is rehabilitation. How can you rehab somebody that's good and just still keep them in there? You get what I'm saying? So it's just like that system is like so. And then when I remember, like I read the 13th Amendment, like for real, like 3 weeks ago, and I remember being like, slavery's abolished except if you're incarcerated, and I was just like, no one ever reread this and was like, hey, slavery's still happening. Like the prison industrial system is
Of course not.
thriving because
I mean,
of
why
this.
would they look at it like that? Because who does it mostly affect?
You're right. It's the numbers is our numbers. And that's why they always point back at that. That's why I always get upset at people for pointing at black on black crime, because like there's white on white crime. There's
Thank you.
There's all other types of crime.
That's
Why are you even bringing that up? Like that's
a
not
fallacy.
Crime is inherently intraracial.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
crime where you
a
live.
fact.
Most people live
It's your
around
area.
people, so they are going to commit crime amongst their own people.
A
That
fact.
does not mean that they are committing crimes against their people because
A
they
fact.
are their people.
Right.
They're committing crimes because
That's
is
their
where
area.
they have to live.
Yeah,
Perfect.
nobody's driving from Brooklyn to Rochester to go rob some. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like
Fiscally, it's not responsible.
It's just not
Right.
responsible. Tolls, gas, come on.
I'd have to rob a few people on the way as well.
But I mean, because we're so invested, so many of us in our community are very invested in respectability politics, which goes back to, the turn of the century. And, we wanted to be seen as the opposite of the stereotypes that were being put out about us. And so, we needed people to know we're not like that. We, this is what we're after. And we're hearing that even now from like President Obama, who just recently made another statement that's like, I'm like, you do not get to tell these young people how to do what it is they do. Sit down somewhere.
Angela Walker, guys. Angela Walker. We love it. We love it. We love it.
I'm sorry, Miss Walker. Are you saying that a suit will not stop me from being shot by the police?
Wow.
I thought.
Let's talk about respectability politics.
I
Because you
thought
brought it up. It's amazing.
Would change the narrative. Can I?
I like
Fred. They said you don't see I have on a collared shirt.
I'm different. It's collared. It's a collared shirt.
Why did he? They'd be like, wait, look. Cop be like, whoa, sir. This is a three-piece suit. Sir.
This is European cut.
This is ridiculous.
So
yeah.
I remember that happened. I mean, what was the gentleman? He had some sort of like major rank and was pulled over and profiled.
Right.
Yep.
In a suit.
I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, but even Martin Luther King and them at the end towards the protest, they was like, hey man, we can't just be wearing these 3-piece suits. It's hard out here. It's getting too
So,
crazy.
so
We got to start rocking like the jeans and like the sneakers, dog. Like,
we've been
Polo on decky.
we've been having this discussion for a few months on the pod about professionalism
and respectability politics.
and respectability politics. And I've been an advocate for my attire should not at all give you any give you any, what's the word I'm looking for?
Any type of context towards if I'm smart or
like
a good
my attire
person
does not
or I'm not a
my
criminal.
intellect or my, like, how respectable I can be. And Fred was proving that earlier this week when he went on. Where you was at, Fred?
Like, Fred, where'd you go?
I was on NBC News.
Woo! And he was on NBC News with a hoodie on and
a beanie.
People were saying what they were saying.
So
why
like everybody asks me all the time. They was like, "Well, why are you doing your interviews?"
Fred.
Fred is in the mountains.
Fred is in the mountains. But
I saw that.
People were asking him basically, why are you doing an interview on the news with a hoodie and a beanie on? Like that would make his point less valid.
And unfortunately for us, it does.
Yeah.
I had like an existential crisis for like a half a minute about doing this in a hoodie, but it's like I'm at home.
Yeah.
I'm like literally in my room. So, you know, I'm decent, I'm clean, you know, respectable. But I mean,
we appreciate you.
But you think about the fact this is what we're conditioned to think. And if you are Black, if you are any marginalized person, this is the stuff that's used against us.
Yeah.
And us old folks, you know, I'm old school. We rolled with this. My daughter is 27. She ain't having it.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, and it's really dope to have this dialogue with y'all today because I like literally was on the phone with her for like ever, you know, talking about, you know, the differences in the way folks move. Y'all are not scared to call out respectability politics and also talk about how damaging they have been to us.
Right.
And like my aunt, who's 10 years older than I am, was making the point that there are some values, some ideas about what is decent, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it, that are still valuable. But we also have to I think it's a case of keep the fruit and leave the seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take what works. Those things that were toxic, like I think with the loss of, like, you know, as my generation, those of us that are flexible and willing to, you know, take the lead of the youth and humble enough to step back and let y'all do what you do, and support.
Right.
I think a lot of us are realizing that we need to question what we have been taught is respectable.
Right.
You don't deserve to be beaten because you wear your pants a certain way.
Yeah.
You don't deserve to be followed around in a store because your hair is a certain way or because your nails are a certain way. There's a certain perception that comes with those things.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a conversation our community definitely needs to be having and continuing.
Yeah. No, yeah.
That's a fact. And like she said, our community, this ain't even a white people thing because I lost a job for wearing a do-rag, and the do-rag didn't stop me from doing my job at all. And I know I did my job exceptionally well.
That's a fact.
But respectability politics, it didn't look good to white parents that this young black guy was walking around the school with a do-rag on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Well, see, I have tattoos all the way up both arms. And so, you know, and even I'm guilty of it because, you know, my first thing is like, okay, you need to cover up if you're doing an interview or things like that, because people will see all of that and they'll judge you a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a fact.
I'm not gonna lie. It had like a hard, like respectability politics had a harsh, take on my psyche just growing up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I dress like this, so I must be this. You know what I mean? And it really
That's a
Yes.
fact.
affected my self confidence to where I was like, all right, if I'm this, I gotta be more of that. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what
Yeah,
people
that's a
think of
fact.
me, then that's what I gotta be. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So we
that's a
could save
fact.
our youth if we just allow them to express themselves, however they express themselves. Okay,
I
please
agree.
ask themselves.
Yeah, even like just like the respectability politics thing. Like I've had like a lot of different jobs and I've been through a lot enough to know that like I've met people who's heard how I speak and was like, "Oh, you talk like a white person or you dress like this and you dress like this but you talk like a white
Mhm.
person." I've also lost jobs because like there was a point like now I'm getting my hair back out and I'm about to like re-dread my shit, but I had dreads before and I
Mhm.
cut it because like my job told me like that's not a professional way. And I remember when I cut it how I felt because it was just really like I don't want to do this. Like
Mhm.
this is who I am. I want y'all to accept me for who I am. I literally have this job because of my ability, not because of my hairstyle. And
Right.
it's like they only put me based off of how I look and my hairstyle. So it was just like I remember after that point, after I cut my hair, like Trey and all of them know me. Like I was just like, I'm never gonna rock another suit again. Like I'm never
Yeah.
gonna do this again. Like I'm never gonna fuck with none of that shit ever again. Like, because like
Right.
I just decided that this is who I am. Y'all gotta accept me for who I am or not, and that's it.
Right.
And like, and then it becomes one of those things where it's just like you feel like this is something small because I know like all of us we always fought for like against respectability
Yeah.
politics because it's like if y'all gonna hire us and we're gonna pull up in your spot, we're all gonna be probably wearing sweats,
Yeah.
honestly, like and sneakers, like
Yeah.
100% honestly, we're all wearing sweats and sneakers to host your events or to come to your event. So it's like at the end of the day, it became something bigger. And like I like it now because it's even people that I seen go
Mhm.
against me that are fighting against respectability politics
Oh
now.
yeah.
And I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
amazing. And another question I was going to ask you, and I feel like this goes into that, is like I felt like respectability politics wasn't that important to a lot of black people before. And now it's becoming like a big thing that they're actually thinking. Because like a lot of black people really feel like professionalism is an actual thing, like dressing
Oh
to be
yes.
professional is a
Yes.
real thing. So
Mhm.
now
Oh
it's becoming a
yes.
thing where people are second guessing, like, oh shit, wearing a suit might not even make me feel like I'm a better person than other people.
Right.
So I feel like what's something that you fight for that you feel like doesn't get the respect that is due? Like come up and bring on one of your stands, like one of the things that you feel like a
Mhm.
lot of people are not listening about.
That's a good question. I mean, respectability politics gets under my skin, but it also makes me examine what I know
Mhm.
and what I've been taught
Mhm.
and fight for, the things that I fight within myself
Mhm.
to be more open-minded about. I'm a Capricorn. We're real judgmental.
Mhm.
So like seriously.
Mhm.
And so it's just like, things that matter to me. That's a really good question. Because there's so many things that matter to me. And
Right.
this is like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think be people's right to simply be who they are.
Mhm.
I find that like one of the things that I wrote Howie and I both contribute writings to, they're on the campaign's website. And one of the things that I wrote about is the police brutality and subsequent intra-community murder of a Black trans woman,
Oh yeah.
named Breonna Hill.
Mhm.
And there was someone on the Twitter feed that has shared that and he added me and was like, you need to, or he added Howie, how about you focus on things that people actually care about, basically.
Ooh. We're not doing that.
Yeah, he went, and it was just like, we have a whole segment of our population
Mhm.
that is being murdered
Right.
and disappeared and disrespected, and no one is supposed to speak about this. Mm-hmm. And I think it goes to a bigger issue within our, my community. Something very close to my heart. I just want us to be okay.
Yeah.
And I want us to be okay with who we are.
Yeah.
And I want us to be okay with each other.
Yeah. Definitely.
And proud of who we are.
Yeah.
And all of the things that come with that. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, fighting for issues that are good for Black people, particularly Black women.
Oh, yeah.
And linking those issues to the earth and making sure that we are stopping practices that poison this planet. Yeah. Those things are, I think, would, if you had to ask me what I am absolutely most passionate about, and it probably like went off the question, but that is the thing that is the closest to my heart. No, I need my people to be okay, but I need my planet to be okay.
You didn't go off.
I like that she said that, because I got a question that's kind of like to the left a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you feel about zoos?
Zoos. Say that again.
How do you feel about zoos? How do you feel
about zoos?
Oh, keeping animals in zoos?
Yes. I want to abort them. I want them done with. It's animal prison.
I agree with you. And at the same time, how many species are we watching go extinct except for what's in the zoo? Now, of course, on neither of these things are humans absolved of anything. We're the damn reason. Yeah. We want to sit back. Oh, we're saving the animals.
I don't want to.
You the reason they going extinct.
I don't want to say we. I don't want to say we, because it ain't a whole. It's like not a whole we thing.
It's not a we thing.
It's kind of a very thing.
Not a we thing. But it's
But then again,
we tend to. We tend to respect.
Did we? And I, how can I say this? I think that we've been made complicit in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I think we've become complicit in a lot of things. I think that, we may not be the big game hunters coming in with all of this money to do these things, but I think we're facilitating it. And I think we need to own that.
Yeah. We do.
Yeah.
We're complicit.
I 100% agree with that.
I got another question for you. So I've just been having this conversation recently, just as Black men, you know what I mean? We can speak on these issues, but I feel like a lot of Black men have a blind spot and lack empathy when it comes to Black women's issues.
Woo, boy.
So I wanted you to speak to what are some ways, like I could sit here and tell them as much as I want to, but coming from you, what are some ways Black men can start to remedy that issue?
And that's a deep discussion I had with my daughter today. I think, and my lens is a little bit different. The way that I would approach this in my 20s is very different than the way that I view it now. At 46, I'm a lot more patient. Okay. I have a lot more compassion. I'm a lot more holistic in my view and my understanding in the way that trauma shapes people, and in the way that patriarchy and white supremacy manifest themselves in our people. And why we don't question that in the ways that we need to when we're talking about toxic masculinity versus healthy masculinity. And so one of the first steps, I think, if we are intentional about healing, is that we need to be honest that we have a problem in our community. We have we have a problem when our women, this came from my daughter, and I've heard it elsewhere, I've said it myself. Why are we marching? Why are we uprising? A big part of this uprising for people, why is it so focused on what happens to our men? Our women are being murdered in the same ways. Why did we have to create a whole separate hashtag to get people to say her name?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And for our trans sisters, ain't nobody why are we as a community not checking for them? And so I think, let's be honest, without it being, the war of the sexes. I don't get into that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not here to claw at anybody and talk people down. I'm too grown for that.
Right.
My thing is, let's have a dialogue and be honest about how we got to a point where a large segment of our population, and we've been saying this for decades, we deal with the stuff that comes from white folks and racism outside, and then we come home and we're victimized at home too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not down talking the brothers to say that this is the truth. We know this. Y'all know people that do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So do I.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I found out today my father died, and I really can't muster up a whole lot with that because this was the embodiment of toxic masculinity.
Mm.
And of course, because there's still a biological tie there, I feel something.
Mm-hmm.
But thinking about that just really started me on a deep dive of thinking of how white supremacy, how oppression manifests itself in our communities and in our people, and how we enact these things with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the first step is just being honest about it without pointing fingers, and without people feeling attacked.
Yeah.
This simply is what it is.
That's
a fact.
That's
That's
powerful.
100% a fact.
So
That was amazing.
reaching the end of the show, we usually just open the floor. You have any questions for us
Condolences
in
for
the
your
chat?
dad.
If you got any questions drop the questions and we'll make sure we ask. But if you got any questions for us,
Yeah, we'll answer. Whatever.
I am the most non-asking, and again, I'm old school. It's like you don't be asking people questions. They want you to know something. You want to know somebody wants you to know something. They will tell you. You don't be getting people business.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you some fun stuff then. You
Wait,
paying
no,
attention to any?
I asked before, but what's your views on making cannabis legal federally?
Ooh,
Absolutely.
Yeah, you see my shirt?
Yes, I did. I would if I could, but we get dropped at work. I promise you.
Nah, I understand.
I swear I would. Everybody,
I understand.
Like I said, I'm about to talk too much, but I had to catch myself.
Yeah.
But our campaign platform absolutely supports the legalization and decriminalization of marijuana.
That's a
and
fact.
Also the release of people being held on marijuana charges and reinvestment in our communities that have been ravaged by the drug war, and giving priority growing, like the legal grow industry, prioritizing Black and brown people in that industry. Now
Yep. All right, I got another question. This is a fun question though.
I got one at the coach.
Who is your favorite rapper of all time? Or you could do like it doesn't have to be anything that crazy. You could do like a few of your favorite hip hop artists, and then your favorite like artists like all around of all time.
Prince is at the top of it.
Oh,
all
Prince.
time.
Okay.
Prince.
Okay.
I am a huge Deftones fan. Huge Deftones.
Okay. Okay.
Hip hop, Dead Prez.
Oh yeah,
Rebel Diaz.
Dead Prez.
My next project is an ode to dead presidents, which is dope. Those are my guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Those. Okay. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing.
Have you been paying attention to any of the versus battles?
No.
I ain't got time. I tell y'all, I have like zero life. I go to work and then I do campaign stuff. That's it.
I feel that. You got to get a little bit of fun in there. Just sprinkle a little bit of it.
I'm a Capricorn. What is this fun you're talking about?
Oh God. Don't worry. The next verses that got like Dead Prez or something, and I'm gonna send you the link.
Please do.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
You gotta tune in. You know.
Yeah, it's a mashup of it's Locked and Loaded, and it's a mashup of Dead Prez and the Deftones song My Own Summer. Badass. It is.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, I gotta check it out for sure. I only seen like Deftones on T-shirts. I never heard the music, so now I definitely gotta go check it out.
Deftones is fire. Listen, I'm gonna send you some tracks. I'm gonna send you some tracks.
Or rock.
They don't really know. They don't too much do rap, but I mean the way that they do, and it's not hard metal.
It's like I guess you could call it alternative because that's what white people turn it into.
Yeah, that's where they usually
alternative means that white people stole everything and turned it into one thing. So like they call it alternative because it's like rock. It's like it has different elements of different things. Like they're musically they're like very broad. Like thing about the Deftones is like they're also some of the most sampled music in hip hop.
I did not know that.
Now I gotta do my homework.
I did not know that. But I mean, Chino Moreno is a person of color, and Chi Chang, who passed away in their group, is also a person of color. So yeah, they're pretty dope.
They're dope,
that's
man.
Fire. That's fire. I don't have no more questions, y'all.
Yeah, me neither, man. This was amazing. I feel like it was perfect.
Oh, y'all are like.
Oh, right, you got one. Yeah.
Hold on. My question is, so I hear your political alignment and I feel you. Is there anybody that you rock with? Because there's one person who you kind of feel like to me, but is there anybody you rock with who's a little bit more mainstream?
Rock with as in respect.
Sure.
As in respect.
Yeah.
Senator Nina Turner.
Okay.
She's someone I've had a lot of respect for. And as a Black woman who is not afraid to speak up. Now, you know, I'm not gonna be a Democrat. I'm not gonna act like I'm a Democrat. I can't do it. But as a person and as someone who has views that I feel are principled and is not afraid to speak on those views, she's somebody that I have a lot of respect for.
Oh, that's wonderful. So
that's amazing.
Where can people like keep up with you and follow you and make sure, you know, they stay updated with the moves you're making? Because I know I definitely am. So
y'all are done. I mean, before I go, I mean, just really thank y'all for having me. I mean, this was a discussion that resonated. I mean, it hit on everything that I have been discussing today. I mean, it was, y'all have no idea, like the synergy. So thank y'all, thank y'all for facilitating this. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you. Great.
Thank you for coming.
Y'all can find me on Twitter at Angela N. Walker, Facebook at Angela N. Walker, Instagram at Angela N. Walker. We made it real simple.
Yeah.
So nice. I'm around. I'm more active on Twitter than I think I am anything else, but we're up to date on all of my social media.
Fire.
And the website for the campaign is www.howiehawkins.us.
Fire.
Okay.
Fire. Y'all got any final hate before we get out of here?
Actually, no. I don't got no hate.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel great. This was a great conversation.
It really was. It really was.
I do.
Oh, wait. I do actually have hate. But you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I've been spending my quality time inside watching a lot of NBA 2K League. You guys suck. And I hope you guys are ready. I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna kick your asses.
I can't wait. Here's my hate. My hate is to Mike O'Mara. Like he was talking about how the NYPD has been vilified and treated like thugs and animals because of 2 weeks of criticism. Imagine centuries of being treated like thugs and animals. Right. Just imagine that, Mike. Like he was and the other guy was like, your senators want us to turn our backs on you. That's not what our senators say. Defund the police absolutely does not mean that. You guys are lying and you think we're dumb, and we're not dumb. We know what it means.
It actually might be safer if they turn their backs to us because they wouldn't be able to see
it's dumb.
The black. It might work out in our favor.
I actually have double hate.
What's up?
So I finished watching the Jeff Epstein doc on Netflix.
Oh boy.
Nasty guy. Worst.
White people, you guys are disgusting. It is. I seen so many white men on that doc say, I could have stopped him. All I had to do was was thwarted, like, or was like out his lie. And you did it. You did it.
And you didn't.
You let someone with no degree be a college professor
and steal $46 million from y'all.
Let someone with no degree run some elaborate Ponzi scheme
and take everybody money.
You let some bastard, nasty hooligan thug take
miscreant
young girls, young innocent girls, to some private island to do nastiness with.
Oh,
I know you're not dead, Jeffrey Epstein.
It's nasty. The whole documentary is gross, bro.
I know you are not dead, Jeffrey Epstein. I know.
Honestly, to anybody who's like grossed out about stuff like that, like that's like a trigger warning. Like, don't watch it. Like, cause I have no
intention of watching.
I like started watching it, and I got to like the second episode.
If you can't handle that kind of stuff, but if you can, you need to see every disgusting detail of what that man was allowed to do by some of the most powerful people this country
has also seen. A lot of the people that people consider successful geniuses and they're so smart were the same people in those documentaries that was just like, you know what? I didn't ask him enough questions. And it's like, how am I supposed to take that as like a good excuse for you letting someone do something mad terrible for so long? Like, you are just as complicit in this situation. And it's just like, as Black people, we also understand laws when it's against us. So it's like, bro, if I'm in a car and y'all wilding and the cops coming through, we all going to jail. So I feel like y'all should all go to jail. Like, if that's how this works.
I got some other things to say, but I don't want Ms. Walker to get in trouble.
Right.
So,
we'll save it. We'll save it.
Things to say.
I do. Yeah. At some point, I'm gonna be, up. Yeah. I'm good because I'm bringing a message. But
There's some people that was in that documentary that they was in some high positions in this United States of America here.
I believe you.
They got some questions that they need to be answering. I wouldn't ask it to them though, because they seem kind of dangerous. But
yeah,
they should be getting asked some questions from some people.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah,
Billiam.
Yeah, but that's it. No more hate. Trey.
I did have one. What was it? You threw me off, Palm. Look, if we go, look, all right, look, protests aren't the new parties, you feel me? We gotta be serious. We can't be out there doing the chicken head to the cops. You know what I mean? We gotta relax. You know what I mean? Go out there with some purpose and intention. You know what I mean?
Angela, what's up?
Is there respectability politics on here?
No. Chicken head, doing the chicken head don't stop police brutality. It might actually, speed it up.
I don't want to see nobody dancing with the police.
There's that.
I don't want to see y'all dancing with the police.
Cindy,
they are not your friends.
See, I feel like I get what both y'all said. Dancing at the police is different from dancing with the police. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's people hugging cops out there, and it's like, what are y'all doing? That's not what we're supposed to be doing right now. We're not doing that. But even dancing at the police, at some level, you got to realize, like, all right, baby.
I won the battle.
But you won the battle. That's all I respect it a little bit more. But dancing with the police is like the people doing the cha-cha slide with the cops. Like, that's insane.
I'm just saying, at least declare a battle first.
Yeah,
he gets served.
You gotta tell him he's getting served.
You gotta tell him he's getting served. You feel me?
If nobody don't hit the elbows, the cops won.
That's what I'm saying. All right, y'all.
That was amazing. That's amazing.
All right, y'all. This was fun, man.
This is a great episode.
This is mad. Thank you again, Angela, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She was dope. You got to see how crazy we are at the end. This is how we have fun. We talk mad.
That's a fact.
Nah, it was needed. It was needed.
Word up. All right, y'all. Hey, champ. Let's get up out of here.
Hey.
Oh man.